Benjies, welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. Here at the BingeWorthy podcast, we will let you know if you should watch or binge watch a television series. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I've got three dope-ass brothers with me here today. The first guy we got is Chuck. Say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, Slicky J?
They talking about my fly
Slicky
threads.
J.
They talking
Slicky
about my fly
J.
threads, man. They ain't ready, man. They ain't ready. Yo, Centel, tell the people who you are, man.
Yo, what's cracking, baby? I'm so happy to be back here with my people, gang. Look, hey, came back and look, everybody dressed
Hey,
to
the
the
whole
nines.
world
Let's
is
go.
back. Popping my collar, baby. I'm popping my collar. Yo, Ricard, tell them who you are, man.
Hello, puppet. Get out in the corner and make me some money.
I never been a London, a British film. No, I love it. I love it. And today we are watching Netflix's Beef. It has 10 episodes and it's got a runtime between 32 and 39 minutes. The premise of Beef is a near accident in a parking lot turns two strangers into enemies. The tit-for-tat relationship that develops leads to escalating acts of revenge as Amy and Danny learn about each other's identities and families and become more and more involved with each other. What we do at the beginning of the show is we rate it using our binge-worthy scale. So Rodney, Mr. Technical Director, please show the people what are our scores for Beef? Are they up? Because I cannot see them yet.
They are up.
All right. So show me what you. All right.
We got two binge worthies and two full meals.
Two binge worthies and two full meals. Okay. So what's that?
Okay.
I'm add them up together.
Basically, a 4.5.
So 4.5, that means, we can almost round this up to 4 binge out. All right.
Yeah.
So let's right now what we're going to do is we're going to engage in conversation about this show. We're going to talk about everything from the plots, the acting, the themes, and then at the end we are going to re-rate the show. So I'm going to start with you, Rakai. In the plot for the series, the action, it jumps off real fast. There is not a lot of build up. There's not a lot of building towards something. We get into this really quickly. So I'm asking you, how do you think the plot for this show helped be established in the pilot episode?
The pilot episode was solid. I don't know. It escalated quickly and it kind of gave me exactly what I thought it would give when you're talking about beef, like a road rage incident, and then kind of their way of kind of shielding it from the other people to not let them know that it was them, because that was the big thing in the first episode. Was it was caught on some kind of like a home camera, them driving through that one yard, and then it went viral online, so they knew it was them, but then they were trying to shield it from other people in their life. So it was interesting. I didn't know how they was going to string this out into like 10 episodes, but they made that happen. So I don't know. I thought it was solid.
Cool. Chuck, hey, so writing can have a huge impact on the quality of a television series. How did you think the writing impacted this overall series?
Overall series, I thought the writing was immaculate. It was perfect writing. Every time you thought it was one way or you felt a certain type of way about a particular character, the writing and the dialogue alone changed all that about that character.
It keep us guessing, right? Every time we got comfortable, the thing was changing rather rapidly.
It was really good about that. It was strong. It did a really good job.
I enjoyed it too. So Centel, bro, you're an actor, and good writing is great, but without good acting, it can really dampen or weaken a series. What did you feel about the overall casting for this series?
Surprisingly good. I was a Stephen Yeun. I think that's how his name is pronounced.
Yeah.
I was saying it wrong last time. I was a Stephen Yeun fan when he came out with like The Walking Dead way back in the day. I think that was like the show that where he kind of like cut his teeth as an actor. He really got a lot of notoriety and fame. And for me, one of the main reasons why I stopped watching it was the death of his character on that show. It just didn't really feel the same, and he was a really big part of it. So that's like a testament to just even when we had our very first times looking at Steven as an actor, just how much he could move the needle, and he doesn't disappoint. He's had some critically acclaimed projects since then, but this as a series, we just really got a chance to see him just take the ball and just run with it. He gave us a lot, and the second half to him, which is very closely related to just the series as a whole, his yin yang twin and Ali Wong, who plays Amy Lau, and she was, I mean, like really, they were equal. There was no one better or worse. They were it was like a heavyweight fight watching them in scenes together. Their acting carried it just between the central characters. But the thing that's beautiful about this show is it's the side characters too that make it really, really dope. There was a guy that was super passive, played by George. He knocked that out the park because I loved hating him. Paul was the young gunner who was trying to figure things out. Isaac, a kid in the family who's just a hustler. Like, it was so many great side characters that you really couldn't go wrong. It was like with that cast by itself, I felt like the writing just had to just be good, and the actors would have taken it to greatness.
And I agree with you, man. So, what I want to say is, Ali Wong, we know her as a comedian. Like, I love her stand-up. It's brilliant. But she leaned all the way into her acting chops. And just sometimes her facial expressions, she didn't even have to say or do anything, just the changes in her facial expressions, and then like the costume and the wigs changes and everything, it told another part, or it added to the story without her nothing having to do anything. I thought she was remarkable in this. Chuck, what'd you think about Ali and her acting performance? Centel touched on Steven's character. What'd you think about Ali's character, her performance in here?
I thought Ali's character was pretty good. I mean, I saw her the first time I saw Ali Wong like actually cut her chops was Always Be My Maybe, where she's it's a movie on Netflix where she acts opposite of Randall Park, the father from Fresh Off the Boat. And she actually did a good job there too, but this level she took it up. Like, you saw how she felt, you saw her nervous tension, you saw her anxiety. She wore a lot of emotion on her face and still tried to hold the mask on the whole entire time. Like, especially when she talked to Jordan, and the only time you see her flare up really is when she talked to Fumi and she talked to Naomi. And that's like, I'm like, yeah. And you see her relax a little bit when she talked to Paul, his brother. That was a great scene when they were in the hotel room together. Like, so I thought she did a really great job, and that she held up her part. Like, Ali Wong's known to be a writer. She didn't do a lot of writing on this, and she definitely cut her acting chops. And then she was about as expressive as she was in her comedy. Like, she's very expressive in her comedy.
That was the thing that stood out to me, was how expressive she was. Mm-hmm. Facial figures, body language, all of those things. They just added to the story. Now, in our story, we have two very unlikable characters, right? Rakai, if you had to support one and be on one's team, who you rolling with? You rolling with Amy, or you rolling with what? Steve?
Dan.
Danny. Danny. The thing is about this story, it's hard because of the twists and turns and the way the story developed. It's hard to be on one person's team for the entire time. And the thing is, like, at first, you might have been on Amy's side from episode 1 because it seemed like Danny blew that shit way out of proportion and took it too far, like some typical road rage shit. But when they got to doing the back and forth, the more it progressed, it's like, okay, now Amy was out of line. No, now Danny's out of line. Now I can't stand both of their dumbasses. Like, it was, it just, and I have to echo what Centel said. Like, honestly, the side characters are really the other characters are what made this move along. Like Paul, I really liked his directionless type of thing, where he was trying to find himself, and that was a perfect foil to Isaac, the cousin, who was a straight hustler and pretty much an asshole, and then you saw as his story progressed, where he went to prison, got back out, and became a damn crazy man. Um, Naomi, Mia, George, I I particularly like Fumi. Every scene that she was in, she ate. Um, and just because it was more than just her being just the mother-in-law. Like she ate, and then when you finally find out the reason why she was the way she was, that was super interesting. But I don't know. At the end, I don't know. At the end, I just kind of end up really feeling sorry for both of their monkey asses, like Amy and Danny. Like, damn, you went this far, and it could have been sorted out, and you both have done irreparable damage to your own damn lives. Like, this shit was crazy.
So none of them, you ain't messing with none of them. You like,
Nah, I'm with Paul. I'm out.
Chuck, Centel and Beaufort alluded to the supporting cast for this. Was there any specific character that stood out to you from the supporting cast, negative, positive, or for any reason?
You want me to take this one?
No, take
Chuck, and then you jump in there, Centel, both of y'all.
Yeah, I think me and Joe might have the same guy. I think, and here's the thing, and I feel bad about saying it because of some of the stuff that's been going down. If you've been keeping up with social media, but the character of Isaac, played by oh my gosh,
David Cho.
Yeah. I thought he absolutely stole the show with just his quickness. I don't know, the way he went about it, it felt like a lot of it was off book. He didn't seem to be like, I'm gonna read these lines and do that. He seemed to be like really off the cuff, and because of that, it's probably why he's probably in a little bit of trouble now. He's got some stuff that he kind of messed up saying.
What are you talking about in real life?
Yeah, in real life, he's on the hot seat.
I didn't know that.
For some stuff that he said.
I don't want to go too much into it, but apparently he was on a podcast and he's admitted to committing sexual assault to masseuse.
Oh,
his own podcast. They didn't prose it. He was like, yeah, I pretty much did that to her.
Oh, he thought he was Deshaun Watson. No, sir.
Now, this is like 7 years like this before Me Too and stuff, but now it's like, it was controversial back then. Now it's resurfacing, probably due to the success.
Ain't no time limit on that shit. Ask Bill Cosby. Shit.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Context is key. I'm not saying that what he said is justifiable at all, but years ago, a lot of things were said, and that was like we're coming off the edge of the shock jock radio kind of thing going on, and people were just saying things to make people be like, oh my gosh, that doesn't work today. And you go digging in the crates. Once you find frame, somebody's go digging in the crates. But that kind of energy, not the toxicity of it, but just his ability to just say stuff. And then the way that he acts with his emotions and his face and his hands and everything and his quick wit, he brought the character Isaac just to life to me. I thought he was hands down the best out of all of
by any chance, is he a comedian?
No, yes, he's an artist.
He's an artist.
He's an artist. Painter. Yeah, he's the one that painted all of the
title card.
Yeah, that's all his art. Yeah,
that's all his art.
Yeah, his title card.
Yeah, because he was quick-witted, and it seemed like he did a lot of ad-libs, and it almost seemed like out of all the characters, he seemed the one that's most natural. Like he just saying shit.
Let me ask y'all something about his character. Did you all think that a lot of the things that he said was sincere, like that he sincerely had Steven's back?
Oh yeah, I definitely thought he was about family. Like we know this family member. We had this family member.
I thought he was sincere too.
Yeah, like this.
He was a criminal, but like I got a cousin or two that's like ride or die, and they straight criminals.
Absolutely. And I think that's what made him. He was about family, and his story was interesting, right? Because I agree with to follow back on what Centel just said. That's my guy too. Me and Centel watched this together, And I was like, that's my guy. And he was like, I was the first one over here. Because when he assumed that it was Paul that told on, he said, you're the one who probably ratted me out too. When him and Paul fell into it. And Paul didn't say he did rat him out. He didn't say he did. But now I kind of think of it. They never alluded to who really ratted him out. But I think Danny ratted him out.
Yeah, I thought that was
seeing as everything plays back. Yeah, Danny.
Yeah. But he was like, but we're family. But he was like, I'm still riding with you, Paul. You might have been effed up, but we're family. And I was the first one over here for all of us.
See, I don't know. I didn't really get that feeling from Isaac. Like I always thought he was about family as long as he's the one calling the shots. As long as he's the alpha, he's cool. But I don't think that he would have ever agreed, and he wouldn't have been about family if he had to play backseat to Danny or to Paul or anybody else. As long as he's calling shots, he's cool.
Yeah, I don't think he had that in him. Even I think he wouldn't be calling the shots. I don't even think he even.
I thought it was so inherent in him that
I'm always calling the shots.
That I'm always doing that.
I'm always calling the shots,
and I'm the one who's supposed to do it.
Yeah,
because if Danny goes to jail, he can't handle it. Or you know what I'm saying? Like he's always going to be the one because he sees himself as the alpha. I never see him snitching on any of the family.
And Danny's always been the helper. Like he's the one who wants to save and care for everybody. I'm not that guy. I'm the one to get money and get us rich first and quickly.
And even if that means ruining the the family's hotel and they gotta go back to Korea.
Selling what did he say? He was selling a bootleg baby formula.
Bootleg baby formula.
You know, Isaac was selling everything. He had the
rice cookers,
the rice cookers. But the fact that he had rice cookers that sang what Kelly Clarkson or some shit.
Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing?
Hilarious.
And had them packed with money, $500,000.
But
that's another thing too that's interesting. You know what I'm saying when it comes to family or really to anybody. When put in a situation like he trusted Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my ride or die.
First he got to jail and said, he knew that Danny had, turned him in and didn't give a statement or whatever, and then I guess he did eventually give a statement or whatever. But the problem is Danny was desperate from jump, because he felt guilty about, losing the money. Then he lost the $20,000 that Isaac gave him, and and he was desperate and became more and more desperate at each turn. So, to not see that and see what he would do for money, it'd be your family, it'd be the main people around you who stab you in the back. It's only betrayal if somebody was close to you.
Chantel, you was about to say something, bro? What were you going to say?
Oh no, man! You guys kind of like went over everything. I was just gonna co-sign. I do think he was about the family because even when he was mad at Danny, he still made sure that Danny was broke off when he handed him the money roll at the church and was like, I'm gonna take my part, but I'm gonna still take care of you,
right?
But like y'all said, he has to be the alpha. Like there is no situation where I can see him not being the number one person, And he's just not stupid with his money. He's like, I'm gonna loan you this money, but I'm gonna need the deed for that truck. He's just really about his paper, and however that is, I'll help you how I can, but I'm gonna get me and I'm gonna protect me. So
yeah, man. My favorite character, like support, I won't necessarily say favorite, but like one that I thought was really strong was Fumi. I thought she was like the matriarch of the family, and she knew her son wasn't shit, right? She's like, you talk about he's the anchor. Well, he would be drowning if it wasn't for you. She was like, but whoever you're going to be, you got to commit to that shit 100%. And when she told her that, like for Amy's character, that was eye-opening. 8 months later, they 10 million in. They got the vacation home. You know what I'm saying? They living good. And it was because of the guidance of Fumi. She wasn't the type to come give you a hug. Like, nah, she kicks you in the ass and she knows who to motivate and how to motivate that person. So I thought she was one of my favorite characters
But the thing about that too, that was also self-serving for her.
Oh, absolutely. But she even said, she says, if we got divorced, you get half of everything. You don't have to be nice to me for these trips anymore. And Fumi's like, I know that. But for all of us, you got to be the one running shit. For all of us to keep this lifestyle, you got to be the one running shit.
Yeah. And Fumi knew too. She said her and her husband were suffering, right? Like she's like, we weren't anything. He was a starving artist too, until that damn chair came along.
Mm-hmm.
And that chair blew them all the way up. And she was like, my son's a shitty artist. We know that.
Shitty.
I don't want my granddaughter to be this
right.
I don't want my granddaughter to be the shitty artist. That's why I was suggesting art classes. And you were like, you're just trying to relieve her anxiety as a child. No, her dad's gonna push her towards art. And I don't want her to be a shitty artist like her daddy. The ugly ass bases he make.
Fumi knew that. Yeah, she was like, yeah. I think everybody in here is doing everything for self-preservation. I mean, there's a love for the family, but it's like, no, this is for me too. And I can only go as far as this family goes.
Everybody but Danny and Amy. I think Danny and Amy were doing everything they could for what they thought was their family. Because Amy would sacrifice everything to be with Junie. She would have sacrificed everything. She wanted more time with the family. When Jordan came to her and said, yeah, we're going to give you the $10 million, but your ass is going to work for another 5 years.
Yeah.
And she was like, damn, really? 5 more years?
She switched up on that because also, even though she was running Koyo House, she was dying there. You know what I'm saying? She was dying there. And a lot of times you can sometimes even work in your purpose and be dying on the vine, and your fruit won't bear. So to her, the way to get free from that was to free up her time and get time at home.
That's all she wanted.
Hey, but guys, was it her purpose?
She was in Vegas though.
She said she didn't know shit about plants.
Yeah, she did say that. She did say she didn't know
shit about plants.
She Googled all that shit.
Googled it and I'm faking it. So she's not really living in her purpose. She's out there doing what she thinks to get money.
Well, I'm not saying that she was living in her purpose, but I'm saying, she was living in her purpose as much as being a boss.
Yeah.
Like she was running her house. She was at the point where, she was doing a corporate merger with her, what'd you say, worth, I don't know, millions or billions or whatever, like that's not ordinary people shit. That's, and even Googling it, then she is a Google master, So, if that, but I'm saying once she got to speak at that conference, a whole new light bulb came on for her. Like she stepped into realizing she's a boss chick, you know what I'm saying? And this could be her life. Yeah, I can still work, but I don't always have to be at the office, selling plants to people. I can be out here doing conferences and speaking to women and empowering and shit. She saw a whole new side of herself that she didn't even know was there.
See, that's interesting that you said that, because I saw it the other way, man. I saw her going to the conference and fronting and faking. And she's like, yeah, I've got this perfect life. And her life is shit. Her husband is this passive aggressive loser. She barely has a relationship with her daughter. She can't bring her own family together because Fumi doesn't like her. She's grudging with a guy that she didn't even make, that she barely even knows. But yet she's over here on this stage telling people I can have it all. No, you don't have it all, because you are broken. Right. You're a broken person, and you are here on this stage fronting.
And no, see, the thing is, we actually see it exactly the same. Centel, you're absolutely right. She got up on stage and was full of shit. but the response that she got back from the people, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like that bug of fame. Once people get a little taste of fame and they hear the applause from the crowd, then it's damn near a drug, And I think that was a different plateau for her, because I think the entire time while she was faking it, she didn't believe in herself one bit. She knew she was faking it until she got that applause from a crowd. It was like, oh, wow, you can have it all. I ate up every damn word you said. She's like, oh, shit, for real?
So let's talk about Amy then. So in later episodes of the season, we get these flashbacks of her life, and I thought the way they kind of did it, the way the camera worked, where they started the story already, and then it flipped to the flashback. I thought that was really cool. That was some really good camera work. And then we get to see her story. So I'll start with you first, Chuck. Did seeing her background and her stories, did this help to shape or reshape how you perceived her before those scenes?
Yes, it did. I mean, that backstory was wild. The first scene she came in, about to set back shots with her face covered and under the cover. I said, "This is how I do it." I was like, "Wow, what is going on here? What type of self-hate do you have to be hooking up with these random men?" Just to
No.
just get a little cheddar. Then you see her break into her own house and break out. Then you find out that her parents had her to be an anchor baby. Like they didn't even really want her. They needed to stay in the country, and so they got a baby that they really couldn't afford at the time. And they begrudgingly hated her for it. I was like, you can't hate the thing you created
Yeah.
for your own
But
purposes.
every day.
And then you see in Danny and on Danny's side, where he felt as though I gotta look out for my little brother because my parents aren't gonna really do it. I gotta be the one to raise I'm the eldest born. I need him just like me. And what he did to Paul hurt my soul. It hurt my heart.
Oh
We'll
man.
talk about that in a few minutes. We'll talk
Yeah,
about that in a few
yeah,
minutes. Yeah.
yeah.
So what about you, Centel? Did it help form a different opinion of Amy after seeing this episode with these with her backstory?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best part of anybody's motivation is their why, right? Like, why are they doing these things, and why do they seem like so unhinged? And you see, like, her character is like she's just looking for love anywhere where she could be appreciated, anywhere where that's why she's doing all these crazy things like stealing so that she can she can probably get some type of attention. You notice like she confronts her own pain with that weird Babadook looking lady or the witch looking thing, and and she's over here talking about I can keep your secrets, and I'm not gonna tell anybody. And she's like, why? Because nobody will love you. That's like really pivotal.
Dang.
That is her driving motivation force, is to be loved. That's why they have this interesting talk about like generational trauma, and she's scared to pass that on to her daughter because that's what she got from her parents, and she's just trying to battle with that. So yeah, we got a chance to look in to get the why. We got the same thing with. I know you didn't go to Danny just yet, but we're just with Amy. Yeah, we needed that, especially in order to make that very interesting ending stick the landing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing I thought so interesting about Amy and that Baba, you know what I'm saying, that the ring
The witch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, so is that, and this is just purely my own ignorance, is that something that's a common thing amongst different Asian cultures? Because when I first saw it, the first thing I thought about was the whole thing about the cycle with Bruce Lee.
Well,
whoa, that's a good deep cut reference.
Yeah,
I'm feeling that.
I think the concept of a witch, of something to shame, and it's the mask you wear to hide shame. I know in Japanese and Chinese culture, they wear masks to hide their shame. And the witch was a fairy tale she saw growing up from a book she read, and she used that to hide her shame.
Okay.
Like things I should be ashamed of, I see the witch when I'm doing them.
Yeah, I just thought that that whatever type of horror character, you know what I'm saying, that's in your dreams, in your past, and it's a part of your psyche, your makeup, and something that you don't want to pass along. The first thing I thought was Bruce Lee, and I was like, damn, is this just something that's inherent in their culture or something like that? But that was just a thought that I had. So
yeah, I think every writer, I don't know, director should take a master's class. Like they should give a master's class and this on how to do backstory. This was so succinctly and perfectly done. And it was so pertinent to the theme and the plot of the season, right? Because if we don't get this story, it's a different television series, and we're walking away with a different opinion of this character. It's the setup for what we get towards the end. So Rakai, so let's talk about what's it, Steve? Why am I so bad with
Danny.
that? Danny. Steve,
Wait,
Danny.
Stephen Yeun. Yeah.
Stephen Yeun is the main actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Danny's arc or did you think that he even had an arc?
Well, yeah, he absolutely had an arc, and I think the interesting thing is it was a polar opposite to me from Amy. Like Amy's character, seeing her backstory, I really kind of felt sorry for her, and I saw why she was basically enraged all the time. She had this quiet rage within her all the time, like the whole shit, where her husband was hiding the gun from her. And then when she got the gun out the safe and what she did with herself and the gun, I was like, that's some different shit right there. Like, you can't just watch porn like everybody else. Like, that's some different shit. But then with Danny, when I saw his backstory, it really, from that point on, I really disliked the shit out of him for the rest of the story. Like seeing what Danny did to Paul
was so messed up.
It really pissed me off. You know what I'm saying? Because that is like the height of selfishness. And I get it that you have one way and you see things one way. You want to keep your little brother close to you because that's all that you have. Even if you thought, I kind of take care of him, you single-handedly crushed all of his hopes and dreams and shit. Man, fuck you, dude. Like, and even his arc, he went from being this asshole to kind of a redemption, where it seemed like he was kind of cool and he was kind of figuring his shit out. But, he finally got his parents to place, but that was by putting his cousin in jail and stealing all his money. He basically went out of his way to get rid of and kind of fix the band leader at church who was with his ex-girlfriend or whatever, and then kind of took over that place at church. So you thought he was kind of coming around, like, because that was a really strange scene, that cathartic cry that he had at church. It was almost like, he was letting everything go and he was going to become a different dude. But no, it's like, it was almost like that freed him up to get fucking worse. Like, this dude went from that to some straight, just next level bullshit. Like, I just hated his monkey ass.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump to Centel real quick. When we talk about what he did to Paul, and I don't want to give away too much of a spoiler alert out there, let people go out there and watch it for themselves. What Danny did to Paul, is he a redeemable character after doing something like that?
No, but see, here's the thing, and I think they were brilliant in doing this, is that they gave us that church scene first, because you have to have something to make him some hint of humanity, right? In order to keep following him through this journey, right? Mm-hmm. And here's a testament to Stephen Yeun, who played the character. He did such a good job of that come to Jesus moment of just, I am stripped, I'm nothing right now. Build me back up, God. Please, I need help. Please help me, help. And it was enough for me to turn me around and be like, he's a redeemable character. He knows that he's doing wrong. He knows he's in a bad spot. It's not like he's just doing it because he's just a malicious character. He's just an idiot. He's a moron that makes dumb decisions and he's selfish, Mm-hmm. So when you see the horrible thing that he does to his brother, it makes you have to make a decision. You're like, is he still redeemable, or is he just such a piece of trash that whatever he gets, he absolutely deserves? And I think that's up to whoever it is that's watching it. I had just a shred of humanity left in him. It was just enough, like I said, to make that ending kind of work. Like, you have to set all these pieces up emotionally and with characters and the things that they do and their motivations and the why, so that ending can somewhat make sense. Because without any of that, without seeing him cry, without seeing him be his absolute worst to his own family, you don't get that payoff. So to kind of say what you were saying, Johnny, the writing and the setup and the character development, the backstory was so brilliantly done, and we needed to see that.
Now, episode 9, Chuck, for episode 9, it was action packed, man. You had the robbery, you had everything. And I thought, right, we were going to end here, right? I thought this was going to be in. And then I looked, I'm like, You still got another damn episode. Like, why do we need another whole episode for it? Right? We done killed the white racist lady. We done had the robbery. People going to jail. I'm sorry for giving all the spoilers alone, but it's a lot going on in episode 9, right? But then we get another episode. So, how do you think that this series stuck the landing for that payoff or that episode we got in episode 10?
Man. They Simone Biles that it was the perfect.
I like
it was the perfect landing in a series because episode 9, there's a lot going on there and a lot happens and the retribution of the Tamago chair and all kinds. There's a lot going on in that episode that it vilified all the characters. First of all, because at the end of the episode, you wanted nobody but Junie to survive, and you wanted George to come and get her.
Was anybody scared Junie was gonna die?
No, I wasn't scared she was gonna die. I thought she was safe. I thought she was totally safe.
Go ahead.
But it was like, but I was more like, everybody can get it. Get them all off the screen. Get them off the screen. All of them can get it. And what happens? Then it goes into episode 10. I thought episode 10 was perfect because even through that, y'all find a way to hate each other. Even through that, y'all yin and yang hated each other. And how episode 9 starts, the introduction with those two characters talking in the very beginning. I'm not going to say who or what they were. They're talking in the very beginning to each other. Like, yeah, she tried to hit me here and he tried to do this to me. And they're both talking about, they both were watching them. And then they go through that whole episode and they bear it all to the point where they actually sync. And their sync was, oh my God, that was the most magical scene I've seen on screen in a while.
I've ever seen. I don't know if I
like, wow. And it made sense why they sunk. It was not majestical. It was something great. And how that happened. The whole point of I Google my shit, all that it played into it. Like everything made perfect sense. And even the ending, the final end was like, that makes total sense.
Yeah, man. With them sitting and talking as each other. I thought that was.
Hey, don't ruin this. Don't ruin this. Let people see it because it's so amazing.
I didn't thought I just said talking as each other, man. I ain't
yeah. It was great. It was great. It was great.
So what about you, Rikai? They sticking the landing here?
Absolutely. I kind of was like you. Like there was so much that happened in episode 9. I think probably kind of in episode 9, I wanted 2 people to survive. Junie, of course. She, sweet little baby. She deserved to. Which was funny how she just put her own ass in the truck looking for Skittles, and that started a whole different mess of things.
Yeah,
but I was actually team Paul too. Like Paul asked, he just wanted to be away from his brother. He wanted to be independent. He got his little heart broke, and he went and made a bad situation worse by blowing it up. Of course, because of something that his brother said. Because his brother led him down that damn dirt path again. Then they end up getting kidnapped and all that shit that happened in episode 9. And then Danny didn't get it until he thought his brother got killed. He didn't get it. None of it. He didn't get it. Even with all the shit that Isaac was doing and everything that happened, he still didn't get it until he thought that
he lost his brother.
Paul was dead. And then just even when he found out that that Paul was still alive, and he's like but he was dead, which was a whole different thing, it was crazy. So yeah, the last episode, which I just enjoyed them waking up with all the branches on them and just piles of vomit every goddamn where. That shit was crazy.
Yo,
go ahead, Sadell. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, a lot of times when I see like opening credits or opening sequences, I try to like subconsciously see if there's any clues in it and stuff like that. And they did like some really cool stuff with like the artwork in the very beginning that was done by one of the actors. And on the very last episode, the artwork, I forgot the name of the episode, but I do remember the artwork vividly. And it was a guy or it was a creature or a person on their hands and knees and it looks like they're vomiting, and you see like this rainbow coming out of their chest, right? And it's like splattering all on the ground. And it was the only painting that kind of like connected the dots for me out of the whole show, and that was the fact that Danny had this thing with Skittles. Skittles was a very important like triggering thing within this show, right? It was the thing that he actually bonded with his brother over. It's the one thing that his brother actually remembers that his brother taught him. Excuse me, I messed that up. It's the one thing Paul remembers that Danny actually taught him when he was hanging out with
Amy.
With Amy,
but then he actually took credit for it. Said he invented it.
He took credit for it. But the Skittles is like still really important. And you see like the rainbow. It's all about this rainbow thing. And in the very end, you know, they end up like, you know, poisoning themselves based off of the botanic expertise of somebody who runs a plant factory.
You don't know shit about plants.
They don't even know nothing about plants, and they end up poisoning themselves. But as a result of them poisoning themselves, they're every like 10 minutes, you know, they're vomiting, throwing stuff up. And he actually does what the picture says. He throws up a rainbow. He's like Skittles all over there. So I was like, oh, okay, I can actually like put the two pieces together as they're like purging whatever it is, the evil out of them or the truth out of them or whatever it is. You know, I thought that was kind of dope.
I guess it was kind of a last meal, right? The Skittles, you know, as a wow, it's how they bond. It was kind of the actual last meal that they had before their come to Jesus moment, like before they purge everything.
Yeah. And I think you saying that makes a lot of sense too, because them purging everything is too, they had a lot of truths and they said a lot because hell, at first they thought they were dying. So there's no point in holding back. Now they let everything go. They let everything out and what they want to say to each other, what they thought about each other, and all the other shit they done in life. Because hell, they thought they were dying. Yeah. Remember, because when they woke up, they were surprised. They were celebratory that shit, we're alive.
Yeah. But there's a question, and there is some people that believe that they didn't make it. And there's some interesting clues that kind of like tie into that a little bit. So I was gonna ask, I hope I'm not getting too far ahead. I was gonna ask, do you think they survived?
I mean, until y'all just said so, I thought, what is the rationale to support that they did not?
The rainbow is supposed to be like a really important thing of freedom and also it's a symbol of reaching like the highest level of self-actualization, right? You know, because the spectrum of the rainbow is pure light. You're pure, right? But you're purging all of this out, right? There's also the scene when they get out and they're walking through the tunnel and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, when you die, don't go to the light. They're walking to the light. You know, when they walk to the light, what happens? Somebody's getting killed, allegedly, maybe. When they're laying in the bed, even getting the when they're finally becoming yin and yang, when they finally like are becoming one. There's this weird, interesting time lapse that kind of happens, and as it's happening, the rainbow colors are going over them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, maybe they're moving on like towards their heaven, or maybe only one of them survives. There is no definitive answer. It's just a lot of questions. It's good artistry from the creators of the show.
And also in many cultures, the crows take you to the next life.
And then the crows
take you to the next life.
Yeah, and I think I probably if they had pulled a kaleidoscope and stayed there and ended it there, I would agree. But the whole other part where they ended up in the hospital and then with Amy crawled into the bed with him, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, her mortal enemy for the past God knows how long, you know, and that she into the bed with him. That's probably the part that took me away from that theory.
So
everything
had happened and ended right around the tunnel and the crows and everything. I'd be like, yep, I don't think they made it.
But see, that's it though, right? They built their own hell. So hell is something that you build, and their hell was being stuck together. And him the never person who did it was George. Was never able being to actually communicate. So the person that you realize that you're more alike, that sees you for who you really are, you're not able to communicate with ever again. And you have to watch them suffer in this state where they can't speak with you because of stuff that you did. So they're sharing this purgatorial hell together. And that's why they're the yin and yang. Like she had everything. And she had everything to lose. He had everything to gain most of the show.
On fire.
And so they put them together in that room, and that's your hell. You ever watch Lucifer? Lucifer dives into it a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like hell is what you regret.
Yeah.
Hell is the source of your regrets.
You make it. Yeah.
The source of your regrets. This is it. This is the ultimate regret. At any given moment, they could have stopped what they were doing to each other and actually got to know each other. But now they took it all the way into hell with them.
There's an argument that they died as soon as they literally went off the rails.
Went off the rails.
I thought they did it first,
because the next
scene, they survived that.
Because the next scene is the crows talking, and then that's when everything gets surreal, right? Everything gets surreal after the cars go off of the thing and talking crows and seeing things, and there's like weird people that kind of like walk by the frame, and it's really trippy.
And that would explain the sinking.
And let me throw something out there.
And it connects the circle because their hatred started in a car chase, and their hatred ends in a car chase.
Let me throw something out there too. So the last 2 series that we watched ended in that kind of surreal, like very similar, although different, but very similar endings between Swarm and Beef.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a new? Because I mean, I remember watching Swarm more so now that this theory is in play, and now that I can see it, because I didn't see it at first, but now I can see it. Is this the new M. Night Shyamalan kind of thing? Like, is this the new Sixth Sense?
Well, Lost did it too. They just didn't execute it as good as they needed to do it. Like, look at Centel roll his face. Look at him roll his face. Lost did it too, and they ruined it because they weren't supposed to do it at all. So I can see that.
You all got me messed up here because I think they died.
They may have.
I think the car was the end of it, right? And everything that explains the sinking, that explains going through the tunnel, that explains the rainbow, like that explains it all. Yeah.
Does that make it better or worse for you?
It doesn't matter. I thought it was a great show, so I gave it a full binge, y'all. So, but it does add some intrigue to it. Like the depths of the writing takes it a lot farther with me. So it enhances it, just to how clever they were able to do that, if that is the case. But I mean, now it's really made me think, right? Like, oh, damn, they did. Because I was shocked when it went again. They do it at the end of episode 9, which I thought this series was over with, right? And then the car falls. I'm like, how the hell did they survive that? And if her ankle is that messed up, how she walk? Because 1 minute he's got a carrier, then she's able to walk through, even with them helping him. Like, it's so much going on, and this is not a supernatural show per se.
They're bleeding, and the coyotes.
That's when the noise was made. I was like, oh shit, somebody to eat her up, and that's when we gonna leave here. Like they're bleeding with crows, with no food, no water.
On top of George shows up for no goddamn reason, like.
How did he find
back up for it? Definitely,
it's all kinds of things.
He showed up with a gun, so it's not.
And he's not a violent person.
But it's not even jealousy. He's through at her ass and shit, and he don't even know that Danny's still alive. Like he show up with a gun.
And the very last thing, like they're alone, like completely alone. You don't see anybody else. Period. It's as if it's like kindred spirits that find themselves and they're like floating through the ether with the colors and everything. Like Danny should be going to jail for kidnapping, for attempted murder. There's literally bodies on the ground because of these two, and yet they're allowed to.
As a matter of fact,
together in the same.
Danny's not the kind of character that would do that. He's not going to go along in the woods looking for her. He's not that type of person. There's nothing saying he would do that.
But not only that, Danny wasn't handcuffed to his hospital bed, was he?
No.
Not Danny. I meant George. George isn't the kind of person that goes out looking in the woods in the night for Amy. By himself.
Yep, he wouldn't go
by himself. He's not doing that.
Yeah,
he's got the police with him.
Yeah, and then like I said, once they find Danny and Amy, hell, she would have been probably locked up for something. And Danny would have
Got
definitely
a
been
dead billionaire white woman in her own home, and she knew things about it.
That part.
They
That part.
arresting
That
everybody.
part.
There is a
That
dead
part.
billionaire white woman.
Yeah.
Somebody
Her
get
body is cut.
Not
Yeah.
somebody, a whole lot of
a
people.
lot of people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, fellas, we done talked about this enough. So let's go ahead and re-rate it. Centel, we're gonna start with you, bro. How you gonna re-rate it?
I'm actually gonna go up some, man. I wasn't 100% with full binge out at first because I was like, will I watch this again? And I thought, I was like, man, I think I might be done. That's typically like a big indicator for me if it's gonna get a binge out. But after talking with you all, I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna give it a full binge out.
Okay. Rakai, how you gonna re-rate it?
And it's like he just took the words right out of my mouth. Like usually that is my key for, will I rewatch this? And on top of this was something I really didn't want to watch to begin with. Like it's not my usually cup of tea. And, again, just like Swarm, I didn't want to watch that. But it turned out to be excellent. I don't think I'll ever watch that again, but it was excellent. This I probably will never watch this again, but it was absolutely excellent. And I think I'll go up as well. I think I'll give it a full binge out.
Okay. I'm gonna go watch back and look for some Easter eggs to determine like some of the symbology that Centel was talking about with the rainbows and stuff like that. So I want to go back and see what I missed and how I feel about this ending that we're saying.
I heard one part that you missed. You remember when she was taking the back shots with the head? Remember the guy, he kicked in the door. I mean, he came through the door, whatever, was giving the back shots. Remember he had on like that yellow, was it yellow and black Versace shirt? And
hey, don't hate the player, Don't hate the player. Hate the game. Chuck.
Man, I'm okay with one and done television. I can see it just one time and be done with it, and it'd be excellent. There's some movies I have that with, especially independent films. I have one and done. Like I've seen it once, I don't never see it again. It did what it's supposed to do. It knew the assignment. It nailed it. It did everything, knocked it out the park. Whatever you want to use. I think this is that type of television. Because it is anxiety ridden. You'll be feeling anxiety the whole entire time watching it. And I'm gonna keep it a binge worthy.
All right, so we went up. So we're going full binge worthy for beef. Nice. All right. Rakai, got anything to say before we head out?
I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Just the conversation about that last episode changed things for me. So this was an interesting conversation about a very interesting show. So, but I must say, everyone who's tuned in tonight, tune in tomorrow night when we're back to our regularly scheduled time, because the season finale of The Mandalorian tomorrow.
Centel, you got anything to say before we head out?
Yeah, there was one other cool little Easter egg that a friend of mine that was watching him, he texted me and he was like, yo, did you peep that how they had mentioned the crows? I think it was Isaac had mentioned that Danny had saved a crow when he was a kid. It was hurt. He saved it, brought it back to life. And in the very last episode, that crow says it. He's like, yeah, man, I know that dude. He, me and him kind of go back or whatever it is. It's like a weird kind of brief reference. And then we see that same crow again when he was, when Amy was about to shoot him, and the crow comes down out of nowhere and like breaks it all up in order to save him. So it was just like, oh man, I didn't even piece those two together. So big shout out to
the other crow said, well, I know her because she pointed a gun at me. So
pointed a gun at me. Yep.
See, yeah. So yeah, it's just one more cool little Easter egg. Just once again, the brilliance of TV.
Great writing.
Yeah.
Chuck, you got anything to say before we head out?
Yes. For those that want to know a episode breakdown, I happen to be on Centel's channel last week and week before last. We have an episode per episode breakdown of Beef. And if you haven't been to his YouTube channel, y'all should definitely go.
Let him tell him what his
Tell
channel is.
him what it is, Cynthia.
Tell the people where you live at, son. Tell the people
Thank
where you live at.
Thank you so much. Hey, man, this was one of those projects that was sponsored by the Geekish Network, and I was just happy to have, one of the members. I'm trying to get the both of y'all on here too, Rakai, Johnny. I'm looking at y'all. Come on, man. Hop on. Yeah, man. Y'all can check it out at youtube.com/@Sintel. I got a massive, huge catalog, and you get a chance to see me and Chuck in rare form. Tons of fun.
And what's the other one? Let them know about the other one.
The we did Swarm together.
No, your other channel.
I got a whole brand new channel. Yeah, I'm starting over. My bad. I'm starting from scratch. I've got a whole new channel that's going to deal strictly with international content. Right now, I got some South Korean content for a project called Weak Hero Classroom 1. It's dope. Just check it out. It's super dope. I'm gonna be hitting everything from South American content from Brazil, Nollywood from Nigeria, Bollywood Indian content as well, and of course over across the pond over there English over there England and get some of that Spanish content. If it's global,
excellent, right?
Yeah.
For y'all that didn't know, I'm watching Extraordinary Attorney Woo.
Man.
And after I watch an episode, I actually go to Sintel's channel to watch him and Achara, who's also another friend of the station. Actually go through their first K-drama together. It's their first one, so it's like I watch them say things. It's like, they don't get it yet. They'll understand. They'll understand.
They watch Extraordinary Attorney Woo too.
Yeah, it's good, man. Have you seen Extraordinary Attorney Woo?
Chuck turned me on to it. I just finished episode 4. Like, I am loving this show so much. Oh my God.
It's probably one of the better the last feel-good show I felt like that was probably Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Where you go into the episode knowing you go into it knowing you're gonna feel something. So
this is got Ted Lasso, and there was another show that came on a few years ago called God Friended Me that I absolutely loved. I got kind of the same feeling out of it, and that one was a little bit more spiritual, a little bit more Christian based, which was interesting because the lead character was an atheist, which
Black dude's atheist. Yeah.
Not active, baby.
His father is like a bishop. Like, he's a high ranking person in the church, and he's a bishop. I mean, he's an atheist and a podcaster. So excellent show.
What's it called again? Show that out again one more time. What's it called?
God Friended Me.
God Friended Me.
Okay.
God friends him online. Yeah, so that's what I have to say, Randy. And tune in tomorrow, or tune in for our next show.
Absolutely. Yeah, our next show. What's up?
Sintel, what was the name of that other channel?
Oh, you're right. Duh. It's called Cinema Mosaic. So you can go to youtube.com/@Cinema Mosaic. You can check it out.
Thank you, sir.
Check all that out. And tomorrow, right? Check us out because we're going to be back at our regular scheduled time. And we are doing The Mandalorian Season 3. Sintel, man, I don't know what you got doing, but you are welcome to fall. Bro, I ain't even got to tell you, this home, whenever, just ring the doorbell, knock on the door, whenever you want to come through, the door is all. Matter of fact, the key is under the little mat. Whenever you want to come in, just come on in. So we're doing The Mandalorian Season 3 tomorrow.
Got to get interesting. We got Mandalorian tomorrow, Picard next week.
Yeah, Mandalorian tomorrow, Picard, week after that. So Geekish Network, we are a network for people of color. We got people in front of the camera, behind the camera, dope ass people that are bringing you outstanding content. So please support us, like us, follow us, shout us out to all your friends, because we're bringing you that hotness each and every day with shows like Geek Beast, Pod Squadron, BingeWorthy. Support us. And with that being said, we'll holler at you guys tomorrow. Same geek time, same geek channel. Peace.
Sicker than your average. Papa Twist cabbage.
Papa don't stink. Man,